hello everyone, and welcome to Proline, the college football edition. It's week 9 of the college season, off a big weekend. I'm John Cranton in Las Vegas, joined by Jeff Saad. He's been running Las Vegas Sports Services for 19 years, plus Vegas odds maker Sean Hess. Going to take a look at 3 upcoming games for the weekend. First, let's start with a topic. I mean, what are some of the surprise things that happened over the college football weekend? We have seen a couple of upsets these last 2 weekends. Sean, we'll start with you. What stood out?
Well, to me, the best game I saw, maybe in a long time, was the Florida State game with Notre Dame. And a little bit of a controversial call at the end. And I was kind of, I had Notre Dame in the points, but I was hoping that they would win the game. I didn't think they were going to do that. But it was the right call. I mean, anybody who thinks it wasn't, technically it was the right call. How about that Alabama blowout? I don't think anybody saw that. Jeff, what was it? Maybe 13.5, 14?
Yeah, 13.5.
And it was steady. I mean, it was steady. And Saban had made a big deal during the week that he was fed up with the way his team was playing, but I don't think anybody saw that coming. And there wasn't very much line movement on the game. 13.5, 14, back to 13.5, and it was steady steamroll. You could tell, pedal to the metal, all the way to the end. They were going to play 60 minutes, those guys. Now you wonder if it's going to be a letdown down the road here. You know what? Bill Snyder, right? And Snyder's the kind of guy who just keeps on keeping on.
Winning and covering.
Yeah, winning and covering. Yeah, and just every step of the way, they're right there. This is what Snyder does. He either blows you out if it's one of these weak sisters, or if it's a competitive game and you're giving him points. He just stays. He reminds me a little bit of Bill Belichick. He doesn't want to play from behind. He just keeps rolling. And I'm surprised about that missed extra point. I mean, at home, can't do that. I mean, how many dates do you think that guy's going to get up in Oklahoma this weekend after that stunt? You can't do stuff like that. So I was surprised at that, but the fact that K-State stayed within the number and won the game, actually, I think that's neat. Now we're talking what? National title matchups. Does anybody already know? Talk about a disarray here. There's several teams now that are in the hunt here. There's no team that's really standing out. Florida State, of course, number 1 team, undefeated, but barely made it, barely got there. You got to hand it to Kelly. He had those guys playing, good plan, and I think Golson, is that how you pronounce his name? Jeff, quarterback, played the game of his life. I don't know that he'll ever play that well, and I don't know he's ever going to wind up in the NFL or anything, but he played way over his head, and this was the game to do it, and loved the game. It was actually a great game to watch.
Well, then talk about Bama and a potential national title. That ties into the one that surprised me. Texas A&M and Bama has played 2 exciting games the last 2 years, and I thought we might see another one, but boy, the Bama surprised me 59-0. And here's the thing about the Crimson Tide. They're now number 3rd in the nation defensively in points allowed. That's where they've been the last couple of years during their national title runs. And the offense, tremendous balance this year. 26th in passing, 26th in rushing. And when I look at their schedule, they're at LSU. They got home games against Mississippi State and Auburn coming up, and then the SEC title game. So not an easy schedule. But if they get to the title game or the first round of this upcoming playoffs in January, if they play Florida State, let's make a betting number here. I'm going to make it Bama 3.5 over Florida State. What would you guys make?
First of all, the game is being played where? I'm trying to remember. The national championship game. Where's that being?
We'll say the Rose Bowl. Obviously neutral field.
Yeah.
Oh, is it the? Yeah, you know what? I think it is the Rose Bowl. Okay, you're going to make Alabama 3.5 over Florida State?
Yes.
A betting number?
Well, that's my number. How about you?
I would make them a favorite, but that hook, I think the bookies won't do that. I can see 2.5, maybe. But I would be very shocked if it were 3 or more for Alabama. I think that would be, and in fact, that's a matchup they would probably want. But let's not forget Ohio State either. What would you make that line, Jeff?
I would make Florida State a slight favorite because they just seem to pull out all these games somehow, and it'd be hard to bet against a team that's still undefeated at that point, and a team that's able to win these games with smoke and mirrors sometimes. And Jameis Winston always comes back and has a great second half. So I would make Florida State a very slight favorite, maybe a 1.5.
Wow. Okay. It's not going to be a big number. Jeff, what did you see this weekend that was a bit of a surprise?
Yeah, well, first of all, we probably should have been shocked at Alabama because the Alabama fans were complaining that Nick Saban's teams weren't winning by more than what they had been winning. They beat Arkansas by 1 point. So I think he probably wanted to say, okay, you want a big blowout, we're going to give you a big blowout. But then again,
now's the time to bet the game.
Yeah,
right?
This is
lay the point.
Yeah. And it turns out Texas A&M is maybe kind of a fraud anyway. They weren't nearly as good as they looked at that first game against South Carolina. The biggest surprise to me this season is West Virginia. I thought They had, coming into the year, they had lost 14 out of 20. Dana Holgerson was on the hot seat. He had an extremely tough schedule coming up, but they've done pretty well. 5-2. The only 2 games they lost were Alabama and Oklahoma. They beat Baylor this week, and they beat all the teams they should have beaten: Texas Tech, Kansas, Maryland, and then Towson. So I think West Virginia has been the biggest surprise to me. They have a tremendous receiver there, Kevin White, who already has over 1,000 yards receiving. So I think Dana Holgerson has probably saved his job at least for next year, maybe many more after that.
What about maybe the other side? Biggest disappointment. How can you, Steve Spurrier, South Carolina?
Yeah.
I mean, from the beginning, this team 7 games covered just 1. I mean, it's like they can't right the ship here. We're going to talk about this Auburn South Carolina game, but talk about a surprise. I don't think anybody thought that Spurrier would cover just 1 out of the last 7 games.
Yeah.
And
how about Spurrier's old team, Florida?
Neither one of them doing that well. So,
all right, let's get into our first game. It's going to be a Thursday game in the ACC. Miami's playing at Virginia Tech. The early number I saw in this game was Virginia Tech 3. Whether that was a mirage or not, you can forget about it because now Miami is the favorite here of 3. Kind of a desperate battle between 2 teams in the Coastal Division, both 1-2. Miami comes off a bye week, and you certainly have to factor in revenge because Virginia Tech won at Miami last November 9th, 42-24. And after the game, Al Golden said, boy, we were really disappointment and we didn't deserve to win. So I have to wonder about that. The underdog is 5-1 against the spread when these teams meet. And here's a Miami team that's 4-3 overall, but they have not won yet on the road, 0-3. Have been playing pretty good defense this year, 24 points per game. What really stands out, though, about the Canes is this freshman quarterback, Brad Kaya, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Of course, they have balance on offense with Duke Johnson. They come off that blowout win over Cincinnati. So, Sean, how important is something like revenge to you when handicapping a game like this?
What a turkey game. This is a turkey game. Let's just say it the way it is. First of all, you said Virginia Tech came 3. I saw 1.5. I don't remember seeing 3, but you're right. Miami of Florida it's gone the other way now. Miami of Florida is a 3-point favorite. And we're talking the Coastal Division. The national champion is no way coming from the Coastal Division. Virginia Tech, about current numbers, 4-3 straight up, just 3-4 against the number. Frank Beamer, of course, has had his problems over the last 2 or 3 years. They've lost about 10 or 11 games. This is a team that was always in the national title hunt and always had a defense. They're 1-2 in a very weak Coastal Division. Actually, Duke, Virginia, and Pittsburgh, all at 2-1 in that division, are leading the division. But Virginia Tech, they got a shot here. They play Duke on the road on the 15th of November. Then they play Virginia at home, so they got a chance to maybe right the ship. They play Virginia at home. They end the season on the 28th of November. So, I mean, they're coming off a 21-16 loss at Pittsburgh. Thank you, Sean, very much. Last Thursday. What, no laughing? Come on, laughing, guys. Head coach Beamer on hard times. We've talked about this. How about this? Virginia Tech just 3-11 against the bookie in anti-revenge games. In other words, a game where they did win the last time, which I think we already mentioned. That's not very good. And that's if they did it in the previous season, by the way. Miami of Florida, same situation. They're 4-3 straight up, 3-4 against the house. But they do have a win over Duke. And they do play Virginia on the road on the 22nd of November. If anybody remembers that day, that was a JFK thing about 6 million years ago. And they play Pittsburgh at home to end the season on the 29th of November. Miami of Florida is on an 0-3 ATS run. It's hard to make a case for this team with revenge away. That's when they have revenge and they're on the road. They haven't covered it the last 3 times in that road. So the favorite, 6-3 straight up, 5-3 against the number in Coastal Division matchups this year. It's tough for me to pick a game. I'll tell you one thing, in 8 of 9 of these Coastal Division games, they've gone under the total. And I'm not a totals guy as usual. Maybe that's the side to go. You could probably talk me into either side of this game. Maybe look at the under.
Well, here's a game where Virginia Tech 4-3 on the year, outscoring opponents by a 28-20 average. But boy, they have some offensive problems. Injuries at running back. The quarterback, Michael Brewer, 11 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. That says quite a bit. They come off a loss to Pittsburgh, 21-16. Had very difficult time moving and scoring points. So, Jeff, right now it seems to be having a little trouble with finding confidence in this Virginia Tech offense.
Yeah, the Frank Beamer maybe has lost his touch. He was a great coach.
Oh, he's old, Jeff. He's old.
Well, that too, but I mean,
you don't know about being old.
The offense has been terrible the last 3 years. He's always dependent on his defense and special teams to win games and turn games around. That hasn't worked much lately, and of course the problems have made worse by having 3 injured running backs against Pitt last week. I won that game. I had the under. I don't give out a lot of totals. I'm just like Sean, but I couldn't pick a slide in that game, so I took the under, and it was
Should
a
have
winner.
called me. I'd give you.
Yeah, well, I already had it. But the Hokies had a net gain of 26 rushing yards. Michael Brewer, the quarterback, 26 of 45 at 265 yards. Virginia Tech is now 1-6 against the spread on weekdays as a favorite. Although I guess no longer a favorite this game. That was a quick move. Virginia Tech it went just like that. It went from Virginia Tech being favorite to Miami being favorite.
Just like my social life.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about that, right?
That's another episode.
Well, that's another.
You could
story.
be kind, Jeff. Come on, be kind here. Help an old guy out.
Well, Miami, Florida has crushed the weaker teams on its schedule, but the Hurricanes have lost to Louisville, Nebraska, and Georgia Tech. Last year, Miami lost 42-24 as a 4.5-point favorite, and the year before that, the Hurricanes won 30-12 as a 1.5-point dog. Brad Collier has done a good job for a true freshman. He's thrown 16 TDs. He's completed 63% of his passes, but he has thrown 9 picks. Junior running back Duke Johnson is averaging 7.2 yards per carry. Senior wide receiver Philip Dorsett is averaging 34 yards per catch. Miami's averaging 5.3 yards per carry, while allowing only 3.6. They've had a week of rest. They have a big advantage offensively. I'm going to go with Miami, Florida this game, John.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at the total. And Sean, you're not on the X-rated version of YouTube, are you? Is that where you're? No, let's not go there.
These days I couldn't qualify. Nobody wanted to see me anyway. So
I'm going to take a look at the total because Miami defense, they certainly are in revenge mode after getting smoked a year ago. 7 starters back on that defense that were embarrassed by the Hokies a year ago. The last 11 meetings between these teams, 8-3 under the total. We talked about Virginia Tech's shaky offense. They do have a great defense, though. Virginia Tech 8-3-1 under the total at home. And when Virginia Tech faces a good team with a winning record, 25-9-1 under the totals. I'm going to look at a defensive game on Thursday.